In this video, I'm going to start a print-on-demand clothing company and see if it's still a viable way to make some passive income on the side. Here we go. So in theory, print-on-demand sounds pretty great. You can start a business selling shirts, phone cases, photo prints, whatever, and not worry about a lot of the upfront costs, not worry about the shipping, the printing, the inventory, everything that usually goes along with a business like this. It would totally suck to order 100 shirts with your design on it and then not sell any of them, and then they just end up in a box in your parents' garage like my old band's t-shirts. Sorry, Mom and Dad. So you're probably familiar with print on demand. Redbubble and Society6 are two of the large companies that have a wide product offering and allow graphic designers and artists to upload their work and keep a cut of the profits. So when you open a storefront on one of these platforms, they usually tell you the hard cost for each product to have your design printed on it, and then you can set your own profit margin, deciding how much you want to make based off what you think your customer will pay for it. I actually had a Redbubble shop in 2012 where I made some Arrested Development fan art, but unfortunately, that was around the time that Netflix was bringing the show back, and they took down my designs for copyright infringement, but not before I made a couple $100. That is one aspect you have to be careful of because selling fan art really isn't legal, but a lot of these big companies don't pursue legal action because A, it's probably not worth their time involved, and B, it kind of seems like a big guy picking on the little guy scenario, especially when the little guy is just a fan of what the big guy is doing. Redbubble actually launched a fan art initiative where they partnered with some TV shows and bands, and they allow artists to upload fan art as long as they meet certain guidelines for each show or band or whatever it is that they're doing. So that's pretty cool. But let's talk about some of the downsides involved with print on demand. From a customer perspective, shipping takes a little bit longer than you may be accustomed to when you're ordering from Amazon or a traditional retail outlet because the design that you order has to be printed as a one-off at the factory and then packed and shipped out to you. From a business owner perspective, I've already mentioned some of the pros involved, but the major con is that you're really eating into your profit margin by paying a premium to have these print-on-demand companies do all the heavy lifting for you. There's really only so much you can charge for a t-shirt unless you're Kanye, so you're working with some pretty narrow margins, but you also have very limited costs as well. Okay, so now that I've covered the basics of print on demand, let's go over my game plan for this video. First, I'm going to do some research and brainstorming to come up with some ideas for what I want to sell. Then I need to research some print-on-demand companies, make sure that they carry the products that I want to offer, and I need to make sure that they integrate with Shopify because that's the platform I'm going to use to sell. Then, most importantly, I need to create good designs that I think will sell. Then I need to create the products on the print-on-demand platform. Then I have to buy a domain, I have to sign up for Shopify, and then finally put together some ads to hopefully generate some sales. That's plenty of work to do, so let's move on to phase one, research. Before I get started, I'm gonna check out the sites I mentioned earlier, Society6 and Redbubble, see what's trending, see what's popular with customers so I know what's actually selling. I'm also gonna look at Urban Outfitters' website, see what new designs they're coming out with. It might help me get some ideas. So I think it's gonna be best to narrow down to a niche, and that way my brand will have some sort of identity with it, and then when I advertise, it'll be easier to target the right demographic of people who are more likely to convert to a sale. I love the 80s resurgence in pop culture lately, and I'm a sucker for the nostalgia of my childhood, like I know a lot of other people my age are, so that's the route I'm gonna take with this clothing company.
You are such a nerd. Shut up.
Okay, so I'm definitely not the greatest graphic designer out there. I wouldn't even call myself a graphic designer, but I think I have just enough chops to get some designs together that I think will look good. So if you don't have any graphic design chops at all and you want to start something similar, I'd recommend partnering up with a friend or someone else who has artistic ability who can put together some designs for you and maybe share the profit. Or you may be able to find some marketplaces online where you can buy commercial licenses for different graphics that you could use for print on demand. Time to move on to phase two. Now it's time to find a print-on-demand company. Now I want my website to be independent of whatever on-demand platform I use. So for instance, I don't want it to be a shop on redbubble.com. I want it to be its own independent website where the customer doesn't even know it's print-on-demand. So I'm gonna search Shopify's apps for print-on-demand companies that already integrate with Shopify and see what I can find. So I think I'm gonna go with Printful for this. I looked through all the apps and Printful seems to have the the best product offerings, and it has really good reviews. So next, I have a few ideas for designs, so I'm gonna spend the weekend working on them. And this isn't really a step that I can breeze through because it doesn't matter how cool or unique my idea is, because if the design sucks, no one's gonna wanna wear it on a shirt. So I mentioned earlier that I love the nostalgia of my childhood and the whole reemergence of the 80s and 90s pop culture. So for my clothing company, I'm gonna call it Nostalgic Clothing. My first idea is to take some popular brands from that time and replace their logo with the word nostalgic. Now, I should mention that this is likely some mild trademark infringement, but my defense is I am parroting the logos by essentially saying that nostalgia for that brand is better than the brand actually is. The memory is always sweeter than the reality of it. Please don't sue me. Okay, so it's been about a week since I have given you an update, so let me tell you what I've been up to. I spent last weekend creating a handful of designs to offer in my shop, and then I went through Printful's catalog of products, deciding what design should go on what product, what color the shirts should be, etc., etc. So that part was really tedious. It took all weekend pretty much, but I was able to easily import those products into Shopify once I got them all set up on Printful. So that was cool. Then I had to take a few days off to work on videos for my other channel, Mango Street. And this weekend, I've been working on the website more and more, just trying to get it to look more polished and get closer to launch. Let's pull up how many products I have. So I have 35 products in my shop right now. My idea is to have a happy medium amount of products. I don't want so few that it's too limiting and it might not be someone's cup of tea. And I don't want so many that the visitor just becomes so overwhelmed that they don't end up making a purchase. I also don't want to have a t-shirt with one design and like 5 color options. That to me screams print on demand, and I don't want that to turn people off. So instead, I'm going to pick what color I think the shirt should be and just offer that one color for that one product for that one design. For pricing, I wasn't so concerned about profit margin. I just want to have like a proof of concept that people like these designs. From there, I think I can then raise the prices a little bit, because I do think I'll have to spend quite a bit on ads just to start generating some sales. So I want to make sure there's enough profit margin in there to pay for the ads and product, and then leave me with a little bit left over. I've really spent a lot of time with the site trying to give it its own identity so it just doesn't look so straight out of the box, your typical Shopify drop shipping type site. So I went with like this dusty powder blue background, and then I chose a font that kind of encapsulates that retro vibe that I want to go for, and that way it just kind of makes the brand feel more established, more defined. I was able to purchase the domain getnostalgic.co, which I think is it's a great domain. I don't mind .co websites at all. I think they're totally fine. I think people are used to that now. So getnostalgic.co is the website, and I have at the top of the website, you can shop by nostalgia is what I'm calling it. So I have like Nintendo themed products, Sega, Lisa Frank, Oregon Trail, Nickelodeon, stuff like that. If you love one of those products, you can just easily click on that, and you can see everything that's been tagged with that brand. So Nintendo designs, etc., etc. One other thing I did is, as I was thinking about building assets for ads, I signed up for a site called Placeit, which you may be familiar with. Basically, I signed up for a $15 a month subscription, and this allows you to mock up your designs on like thousands of different products and photos, models, etc. And I thought it'd be really cool to have some more like lifestyle mock-ups for my designs for advertisements. And one nice thing about Printful is that they do have some really good looking mock-ups, but I just wanted more variety. And I found some really cool ones on Placeit. So as I was downloading them, I decided it would actually be really cool just to make every product in my shop have one of those lifestyle type mock-ups instead of one of the ones from Printful. And I think it looks really cool, and I think it looks just a little bit different than all the other clothing shops out there. So another thing I did is I wanted to add product reviews on the site, since social proof is super important in helping people have trust in a brand. It's more likely to convert a visitor if they see other people have a good experience with the product. So what I did is I installed an app on Shopify called Product Reviews. It's free. And then I went on Printful's website. Printful has reviews for all of their products too. So what I did is I found each product I'm offering, I found some reviews, and then I actually manually typed them out into to a spreadsheet because there's no way to import reviews from Printful into Shopify that I could find. So I did that manually. And then in the product reviews app, I could import those reviews from a spreadsheet into my store. They're all reviews for that same product. It's just a different design. You know, a lot of shop owners are on Printful leaving reviews on the quality of the product. So they're legitimate reviews. It's just not for my specific designs. And I think that's okay just to get the ball rolling on the shop. So I've spent about 4 full days working on everything so far, and I'm going to now put together some assets for some ads, and then I am going to launch some Facebook ads, and we'll see. Hopefully I get some sales out of it. I also think it's really important to experience things from a customer side of things. So I'm going to order at least one shirt. I want to test the quality, make sure it's a good quality shirt.
Quality assurance.
And see how long shipping was, see how the whole process is from a customer perspective. And I think that's super important. That way you can find any areas you may be able to make things run smoother for the customer, or you can help them adjust their expectations appropriately if the shipping delays due to COVID-19 or whatever. And I can inspect the shirt a little bit more, and I can even take more photos of it if I want, since I do happen to dabble in photography. Okay, so I'm hoping that when we launch the ads, I'll get a lot of sales. Crossing my fingers. I'll check back in a few days. Well, it's been quite a while since I last checked in, and by a while I mean like 3 months, because I kind of let this sit on the back burner and I wasn't too sure what to do with it. Well, now it's time for this video to come to a close, and I'm going to tell you what happened. So I got my ads together and I ran targeted Facebook ads, and I mostly targeted men and women in the video game demographic. I let these ads run for about a week. I spent a total of $80, and I only got 2 sales from it. And to top it all off, it was really just one customer who ordered 2 shirts for a total of $65. I offered free shipping on orders over $40, so I covered shipping. And after Printful charged $28.90, and I paid $5.25 for shipping, I received $30.86. But of course, I spent $80 on Facebook ads to get those 2 sales, so I'm still in the hole for like $50. And to top it all off, Shopify charges 2.9% of the total order amount plus 30 cents. So their cut was $2.19, leaving me with like $28. But I did order one of my shirts and I got it in the mail. Pretty good. So overall, I'm really happy with the shirt. It's super comfortable, the quality looks nice. And it took about 2 to 3 weeks to get here, which wasn't so bad considering the production slowdowns with COVID-19. The only thing with this shirt is the design is a little low, so I think I'm gonna update it and make it a little higher up on the torso. Anyways, the ads did not stop with Facebook, so let's get into that. So I decided to buy some ads on a couple of Instagram pages. I mostly searched for 90s nostalgia and video game meme pages, and the first one I found was a smaller account, had like 28,000 followers, had decent interaction, nothing special. And they were charging me $26 for a 24-hour post with a bio link, and then also an Instagram story with a swipe up link. So I went ahead and purchased that. Here's what my Instagram story looked like. And here's my Instagram post. So unfortunately, I forgot to grab a screenshot before they took down the post, so I didn't end up seeing how many likes or any kind of interaction that it got. But I did get 50 visits to my shop and 0 sales. So not to be deterred, I decided to give it another shot with a larger account. Hopefully maybe this one would turn up with some sales. So this account had over 160,000 followers and pretty solid interaction. So they charged me $85 for the same deal, the same post and Instagram story, both with links. I ran the same ads, and it's pretty similar ad copy. After 20 hours, my post only had 444 likes, which was pretty abysmal compared to the rest of their content on their Instagram profile. But I did get 90 visits to my shop, but once again, whopping 0 in sales. At this point, I've spent $163.19 on ads, all to make like $28. So not so great for me. Okay, so what have I learned from this experiment? Well, for starters, I tried to create a clothing brand from scratch, and while I thought the designs were pretty cool, they probably weren't cool enough to get someone to spend $31 on a brand that they've never heard of. Second, I ended up getting over 800 visitors to my site with a 0.12% conversion rate, which is just horrible. So this either tells me my pricing is too high, or something else on my website is detracting the buyer from making that purchase. So while this experiment did not end up being profitable for me, it's definitely not the nail in the coffin for print on demand. I plan on uploading these designs to Redbubble and see how they do there, where I can rely on Redbubble's existing customer base and their own advertising, and hopefully people would find me organically through the site. That way I can cut down on all my overhead of running the Shopify, paying for everything involved with that. Another route I might try with print on demand is creating more trendy word-based designs that I've seen become popular with other print on demand businesses. And the key to that is knowing who you're targeting, what they want the design to look like, and also what they want the design to say. Okay, before I wrap up, let me just break down how much I spent overall on everything. I spent $8 for the domain name. I spent $37 for a month of Shopify, plus an app called Frequently Bought Together, which kind of encourages additional purchases of different items on the site, so you can kind of bundle things together. And then I spent $80 on Facebook ads, $111 on Instagram ads, and $15 for the mock-up site called Place It that I use to create all the images for my website and my ads. That adds up to a total of $251 in expenses, and I generated $28.67 in revenue for a total loss of $222.33. I'll probably leave my shop up for another month or so if you want to take a look at it. The URL is getnostalgic.co, and then you can kind of see what the site looked like for yourself. If you have had success with print on demand and tell me all the things I did wrong, how much I suck, or what I could do better, feel free to leave me a comment below. That's all for this one. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.